What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Fiction. So today we're going to talk about Dark Season 3, Episode 5, Life and Death. Let's get into it. So we have this opening scene of Claudia actually burying Regina, and she talks about death. And as she's talking about death, there's a split screen with Elizabeth from two different time zones. Then it goes to Elizabeth and her father. Then it goes to a screen of Katarina. Claudia said, "What is death? Is the time of our departure premature? Part of an endless clock where all have one truth in us, that is life and death." Of course, as we know, Claudia is giving us the rundown of what this episode is about to be about. She's narrating this episode and telling us, foreshadowing basically, where this episode is going to go and what it's going to involve, which is life and most importantly, which is death, because you cannot get death without life and vice versa. I love how they did this opening scene with the questions because it leaves questioning throughout your entire experience with this. It leaves you wondering and questioning as a person that's watching this show, as an audience watcher, these things about death. Is life premature? Is death premature? What is death? What is life? That question holds an answer within this episode, but it also makes you wonder as the person that's watching it. And I love that they did that. It always keeps everything fresh, and it keeps you just engaged in this episode. So we get this scene with Adam and Charlotte, and he tells Charlotte that Ava, older Martha, will not make it, and basically that Charlotte's world, her world, is no more important than Charlotte's world. So he's basically confirming that you're already down with us, you might as well be down with us. Her world isn't better than yours. If you want to survive, if you want to be here, if you want to survive, then you basically have to join us, join me. We're already here, so just join the bandwagon. When we get to that scene of Katarina and Auric, and she tells him the plan, this is what we're gonna do, and she's looking at this lady in this scene. She tells Auric that we are going to bring Mikkel back. I just love that scene. I just love, despite everything that Auric has done, I don't know if it's because of all the stuff that Auric has been through, I just feel like, yes, redemption. Y'all about to just kill shit right now. Y'all about to get Auric out of here. You're gonna find Mikkel. You're just thinking, oh, it's gonna be happily ever after. And you kind of want that, even though Auric did all that crap. You still want them to be together. Then we have the scene with Charlotte when she's younger, and her grandfather tells her that I really don't know where you came from. These two women, they brought you, and yeah, this is a picture of my son and his wife and their kid. We never found the baby. I believe that's what he said. But I don't know where you came from. So he's basically telling her, you're really not my biological grandchild, and I have no idea who you are really and where you came from or who your parents were. So Charlotte's just what the hell? Now I gotta figure out who my parents are, and what is my life? Who am I? My whole life has been a lie. Then we have older Claudia meeting middle-aged Claudia herself. Finally come face to face. Middle-aged Claudia basically tells older Claudia, you need to join us. It is light versus shadow right now, and you need to be on our side because we're basically the winning side, and we need to stick with Ava because Jonas is gonna betray you. So I had to turn the air conditioner on because it started getting hot. But back to this. Claudia says to Claudia, basically things have to be repeated. It's gonna repeat itself. This is a cycle. So I would also want to talk about the scene before this scene between Elizabeth and her father, basically telling him there's no point of looking for my mom and my sister because they're gone, Dad. We should just basically give up. I love that scene because it really shows Elizabeth having to grow up super fast because of her circumstances, and her showing her dad I'm not a kid anymore. I've come to realize they basically may be dead, and I'm old enough to understand it. So Jonas comes to figure out that Ava lied about everything, and he tells Martha, we gotta go back to Ava, basically. We have to go back to the older Martha because she lied to us, and I just discovered this. Charlotte actually meets Peter, and they're both in the younger past version. In the current time, it seems that Peter knows that Charlotte cheated on him because that facial expression that he did, he was I know something's up. As soon as he heard Ulrich's name come out of Charlotte's mouth, he was like, Ulrich. And she's like, yeah, I gotta go back to the office. And he's just like, I'm not stupid. I know what's going on. But that scene when Peter gets killed, man, it happened so quick that I feel like we didn't get enough time to mourn him. And because so many other things happened right after that. But I still felt, for Elizabeth in that scene. But Elizabeth, she straight blacked out and killed that guy. And I'm just like, anybody would have done that for their parents. I was on her side for that. That guy was a creep. He deserved it. Honestly, that character deserved it. But I just felt really bad for Elizabeth in that moment, in that time. So then we jump to the scene with young Charlotte and Peter. And she asks, do you think that you could bring people back from the dead? And Peter's like, basically like, how would that be possible? And she's like, you go back in time and prevent it. So hold that thought. And then it jumps to the next scene and we see Elizabeth basically staring at the orb. And you have to assume that because her father was killed, the two are connecting, because future her probably wants to bring her father back because he died. The apocalyptic version of Elizabeth wants to bring her father back because he died. But then in the past time, young Charlotte wants to bring her parents back because they died. And even though there are two different people wanting to bring different people back, it still all connects. I feel like it's just a string connecting to one string, and I'm just like, crazy. We find out who Katarina's mom was, and she was just utter trash, honestly. She was terrible. She turned out to be the lady that was working at the mental institution place, and she kills Katarina. And she basically said, I never wanted you, and she beats her to death, bludgeoned with a rock. It was an intense moment. That was definitely an intense scene. We have all Marthas. Before it goes off, we have that final scene where all four Marthas come together, and it's just like, damn, there's there's like the elder, the middle age, the future, the past, present, like, it's just so many Marthas in this one scene, and you're like, damn. And they end up killing Jonas. Jonas's death scene, I feel like his character could have died a bit better in that scene, I will say. But overall, it was pretty messed up to see Jonas die. But now we're about to see what the world about to be like from Ava's perspective, because now they killed that version of Jonas. So what's going to happen to the trajectory of all the other parts, all the other scenes, all the other dimensions and time zones? So it just keeps going. Like, it keeps going. I feel like this show is one of those shows where it can never end, because there's always gonna be, like, if you do one thing, it's gonna mess up this time zone and that time zone. Like, this series can honestly go on for a long time. It can definitely have longevity because there's so much to do with it, and there's so many characters and so many parts to this freaking series. But this episode definitely had a lot happening, and man, I can't wait for that finale. I know the finale is gonna be like, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified for more videos. If you'd like to get your copy of my book Rain, you can. It is a psychological thriller. It is about a group of young adults in a psych ward who've been living there for so long. They've lived there for so long, they don't think they're ever getting out. So they get this counselor who's young, and he thinks, I can relate to you guys and I can help you. They start to learn that there's something deeper going on in this place, and that he's gonna basically investigate and figure out what it is. And he starts to learn that these kids are not really crazy. This place is crazy though, and it's having an effect on these kids, and these kids, this is what causes them to lose their mind. It is a psychological thriller mixed with sci-fi and horror. Horrible things, horrific things are haunting him. People are dying, people are being killed, and he thinks these kids have some sort of abilities. It's not just a mental illness, it's more to it. If you would like to get a copy of this book, the link in the description box below. You can purchase it on Amazon, or you can send me an email at freespiritrager@gmail.com. If you'd like to stick around to hear the rest of the read, we can. And let's go. Fine. I take a deep breath as Leon begins searching his brown coat for another cigarette. Once found, he plays with it, twirling it around between his fingers, awaiting addictively for the moment to smoke. We touch ground zero. Once we hit the corner, we notice down the desert hall, Kale panically pacing. She bends down to whimper in my arms, apologizing. Leon looks at me. He opens his mouth, but I cut him off. Ko, what happened? What is it? My voice is soothing. I'm sorry, John, she cries. I, I, I went to the bathroom, she sniffs. Only for a few seconds. I'm sorry. She lowers her head in embarrassment. I couldn't hold it. I almost peed myself, so I tried to run as fast as I could to the bathroom, but she fumbles with her fingernails. Oh, they. Leon grips her by the arms, roaring. Where are they? I. She mopes while Leon repeatedly squeezes her shoulders. Where are they, you little runt? Tell me, now. A pain hits the nerve in my head. I strain my eyes to focus, but all I can hear are Leon's eruptions. My body stiffens. Gail's cries grow louder and louder as the walls close in on me. At the end of it is, Neil, do something, John. Help. You're hurting me. Stop it, whines Kale. Help. Help. Do something, John. I open my mouth big enough to yell, stop! But a loud screech on an intercom overpowers me. The voice on the intercom clears his throat. Attention. John Smith, will you please meet me in my office? Right now. John Smith to my office. Is that Matthew? How could it be him? He's not here. He's sick. I turn to look at Leon, but he's gone. I knew it. They set me up. Knew what? John, what's happening? Don't worry, Kale. I'll be right back, I say, before giving her a peck on the forehead. The elevator doors are still open with Leon's hand holding it. I thought he took off without me, yet he waited. But why? What is going on? What is going on? He asks. I have no idea. I thought you were in on this. I side-eye him. It has to be Joe. I swear if he lays a finger on Jake, I'll... Ding! The doors open and out runs Leon like a cheetah. I catch up steadily, entering the office. Well, 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 a voice says. Where's Jake? Leon yells. Spencer steps out from the outlines of his office. Hello, brother. A snail grin conceals him. Leon stands to face him. Spencer, he nods. Why don't you all come in? Leon glances at me. We take a seat in the soft cushioned chairs. A cold chill fills the air. Where the hell is my brother? He requests. Gone. His voice is monotone. What the hell are you talking about? Well, seems your brothers are missing. Perhaps they've escaped. Escaped? He folds his arms, displeased. That's impossible. You're lying. I blabber. He laughs. You got me there. He points to the screen on his desk. See, there they are in the cafeteria, eating. Leon stands from his seat, rushing towards the door, but Spencer cuts him short. And where might you be headed, brother? I'm leaving. He gives his ultimatum. Please, brother, I beg you, spend some quality time with me. I miss you so very much. You miss me, he snorts. You've never at once come to visit or called. I know. I'm so deeply sorry. I've just been, well, busy and all. Leon is quiet, but he mumbles something under his breath, moving around in his seat like he is sitting on coal. Spencer turns to me then turns his back to his brother. Do you want to see Joseph? Spencer inquires. He blushes. No, he doesn't want to see me. Nonsense. He stands from his seat, tightens his vest, and pushes a red button on his telephone. Hank, could you please bring my brothers to my office? Thank you very much. He straightens his necktie, smoothing out his shirt wrinkles, grinning from ear to ear. Now we'll have our little reunion. Yay! He claps. My phone vibrates, but I don't bother to look at the caller ID. Instead, I quickly hit silent, placing it in my pocket. It's probably just Kat. I bet she wants to ask me for money again or borrow something. Important? Spencer peeks. No. Spencer eyes me as if I'm such a fascinating specimen of some sort that he's never seen before in his life. It's disturbing. So how long have you been... Instantly in walks Joseph with Jake, followed by the guard Hank, who nods. Thank you. But his head lowers. You're not Hank. Who are you? Jeffrey, sir. He bows. What happened to Hank? Tell me later. Dismissed. He steps out. Joseph, who's holding his little brother's hand, glances at me, but glares at his older brother. Hello. Come. Come. Sit, brothers. Joseph hesitantly stands, staring at Spencer with a pungent expression, a look so deadly that I'm not sure if he's going to attack Spencer or kill him. Jake, the kid, who was ever so ecstatic, releases his brother's hand to grab a chair from the other room. Joseph continues to stay like a solid glaring sculpture, never blinking. Spencer lends out a hand. Joseph, my brother, why don't you grab a seat? His smile is cunning. Oddly enough, it reminds me of the Joker from Batman. Creepy, but oddly enjoyable. Screech! Screech! The chair scratches against a wooden panel as the kid pushes a second chair inside the room. He's so miniature, like a toy doll. Joe, sit, please, he whines. Joseph's eyes turn to face mine. We stare intently. His eyes are full of spite and emptiness. Does he hate me? Why is he looking at me like that? His focus narrows. I can feel the hatred bubbling up inside him and the rage warming his body like a blazed wildfire. Finally, he opens his curled mouth with disdain rolling off the tip of his tongue. He says, "What's he doing here?" Thought it'd be appropriate if it rolls off his tongue so fluently. Invited me.